Welcome to Echoes of Evidence. Join us each week as we delve into chilling true crime stories. From unsolved murders to baffling disappearances, we bring you the stories that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Whether you're a true crime aficionado or a curious newcomer, Shadows of Crime will captivate and thrill you with every episode. Remember, sometimes reality is more terrifying than fiction. Ready to explore the shadows? Let's get started.
Okay, so you're ready to dive into a real mystery?
Yeah, always up for a good mystery. I love those.
Okay, good. So today we're looking into the Black Dahlia case, and wow, this thing has so much material. I mean, there's just pages and pages and pages of news clippings and reports and theories. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot to take in.
Yeah, it's a big one.
Yeah, for sure.
It's captured people's minds for a really long time.
Yeah, and I can see why.
Yeah.
It's so intriguing. So we're going to kind of see what we can find out, I guess.
Yeah, let's see what we can unearth here.
Okay, good. All right, so starting back in 1947 in Los Angeles, it's a sunny California morning. A mother and her daughter, they're out for a walk.
Just a normal day.
Yeah, just a normal day stroll, and bam, they come across something just absolutely horrifying in Lime Park.
Yeah, and I think what makes this discovery stand out, I mean, obviously the brutality of it all, but it's also how the body was just out in the open like that.
Right.
Like Elizabeth Short's body was posed almost.
Yeah, it was meant to be seen.
It was meant to be seen. It wasn't hidden away at all.
Yeah, and the details. I mean, like, aside from just how brutal it was, she was cut in half.
Yeah.
Like bisected.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no blood at the scene.
Yeah.
It's really creepy.
That's what really gets me about this case, is that this doesn't look like some kind of like crime of passion, you know?
Right.
This points to something that was meticulously planned out, probably murdered somewhere else completely, and then the body was just transported to Lime Park.
Yep.
I mean, no blood. That means a lot of thought went into this.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
Yeah, very unsettling.
It's like a horror film.
Yeah.
So the LAPD, I mean, they obviously knew they had a huge case in their hands, so they called in the FBI for backup. And get this, they actually were able to identify Elizabeth Short within an hour.
That's crazy.
Using fingerprints
Yeah.
and this new technology called sound photo.
Sound photo? What is that? I've
Yeah.
never even heard of that.
Yeah, me neither until I was reading about this. So basically it was like a really early version of a fax machine. And the FBI used it to send fingerprints really fast across states. And Elizabeth Short's prints were already in the system.
Oh, wow.
So it turns out she had been fingerprinted before.
So she was no stranger to law enforcement, I guess.
Yeah, probably some minor thing back east, but, you know, she was an aspiring actress. She came to Hollywood.
Yeah, a lot of people did back then.
Yeah.
Trying to make it big.
So it makes you think about what her life was like before all of this, you know?
Yeah.
Not all glitz and glamour.
Yeah, definitely not.
So then there's the nickname that is probably the most, what she's known for.
The Black Dahlia.
The Black Dahlia. Yeah. And it's interesting because the Blue Dahlia, the film was released like only a year before she was murdered. So I don't know, is it just like because of the name Dahlia, or did the press like make a connection between her and that film's femme fatale character? I don't know.
I mean, it could be both.
Yeah.
Newspapers back then ate this stuff up.
Yeah.
They loved a salacious story, and, the Black Dahlia. It sounded good. It fit the whole, tragic Hollywood story.
Yeah, it's really interesting to think about how the media can really influence what people think.
Yeah, for sure.
Sometimes the truth gets lost in the headlines and all of that.
Absolutely, yeah.
But anyway, getting back to the investigation, they have a victim, they have a nickname, and they have a city that is on edge.
Yeah.
So where did the FBI go from there?
Well, the investigation, it went in all sorts of directions. Because Elizabeth Short's body was cut so precisely, they were looking for someone with surgical skills.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah, they even looked into students at USC.
Oh, wow.
The medical students, which I can't even imagine being a medical student. And suddenly you're like a suspect in this huge murder investigation.
Talk about pressure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Must have been terrifying.
Yeah. And you mentioned all these different directions. So what other leads were they looking at?
Well, there was that letter, right? Oh, yeah.
You know that anonymous letter that the killer supposedly sent?
Right.
They analyzed the fingerprints on it, hoping to find a match.
Uh-huh.
But it went nowhere.
Dead end.
A total dead end. It's crazy to think that maybe if they had the technology we have today, maybe those fingerprints would have been enough to solve it.
I know, it's so frustrating.
Yeah.
Like, you read through all this research and you just keep coming back to that letter. Like, what if things had been different?
Yeah.
What if they'd had DNA evidence back then?
Right.
What do you think were the biggest things holding investigators back then?
Well, I mean, yeah, like you said, the technology, the forensic tools,
Yeah.
they just weren't what they are today. Fingerprints were helpful, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't enough. Plus,
Yeah.
think about how much information they had to go through.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
Thousands of tips, tons of leads.
Oh.
Most of them were just hoaxes or dead ends.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So I'm sure it was really hard to pick out the real stuff from all the noise. And then, of course, the longer it goes on, the harder it gets.
Right. Witnesses forget things. Evidence disappears.
Degrades.
Yeah.
Loses its, potency, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. And some suspects might not even be alive anymore.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, it's true. So no DNA, a mountain of tips to sort through, and the clock's just ticking, ticking, ticking.
Yeah.
What do you think it must have felt like to be working on this case?
Man, I bet it was frustrating.
Yeah.
I bet there were moments where they thought they were so close, especially with that letter,
Yeah.
but it just never panned out.
It's the what-ifs that really get you with this case.
Totally.
You know?
Really.
And so it's officially unsolved still.
Officially, yeah.
But there are so many theories.
Oh, so many.
So many.
Yeah.
Do you think any of them like really stand out or make more sense?
You know, I can't really say for sure.
Yeah.
There were just so many people who could have done it, and each theory kind of has its own pluses and minuses. I mean, some people think it was a surgeon because of how precise the cuts were. Makes sense.
Yeah. Others think that maybe Elizabeth Short knew her attacker. And then there are some theories that connect the Black Dahlia to other murders that were happening around the same time.
Yeah, that's always interesting to think about.
Right.
Like a serial killer or something.
Exactly. But the truth is, we just don't have enough evidence to say for sure.
Yeah, the mystery lives on.
It really does.
It's no wonder that this case has become, like, legendary, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's in so many books, films, TV shows. Why do you think people are still so fascinated by it?
I think we're just obsessed with the unknown, you know?
Yeah.
We like stories about good and evil. And when evil wins, well, it freaks us out.
It's scary.
Yeah.
It makes you feel uneasy.
It does. And I think it's natural to want answers.
Yeah.
We want justice to be served.
Yeah.
But sometimes that just doesn't happen. And when it doesn't, well, I think that makes the story stick with us even more.
It's almost like this puzzle that we have to solve.
Exactly.
You know, it reminds us that there are just some things we may never know.
Even with all the technology and fancy forensics we have today,
Right.
it's unsettling, but also, I don't know, it's kind of captivating too.
Totally. I think the Black Dahlia case, it shows us that sometimes, even when we try our hardest, some answers are just out of reach.
Yeah. But maybe that's why we keep looking.
Maybe.
Keep hoping that one day the truth will come out.
Yeah.
Who knows? Well, that was quite a deep dive.
It really was.
If you are as intrigued as we are, we encourage you to keep digging. There are tons of books, articles, documentaries out there. And who knows, maybe you'll be the one to crack the case.
Yeah, maybe.
All right, until next time, keep those minds curious and remember the truth is out there somewhere.
Somewhere, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe closer than we think.
Thank you for joining us on this journey through the shadows. We truly appreciate your time and curiosity. Your support means the world to us. Stay tuned for more gripping tales and intriguing mysteries in future episodes. There's always another dark story waiting to be uncovered. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe.